Hi, and welcome to the Millennial Money Canada podcast, a podcast to elevate your financial literacy so that you can live well, build wealth, give generously, and leave a legacy that you're proud of. I'm Guillaume, Girard, financial planner, and I'm joined by my co-host, Sam Lichtman, founder and financial planner at Millennial Wealth Advisors. And the topic of today is how to use a smart model or a system to crush and smash your goals in 2025, whether they be financial, health, wellness. So we are going to cover personal goals, professional goals, health and fitness, our journey versus the goals I want to achieve, and a few financial goals and the mindset that can help you to achieve them. And then we'll share with you the model at the end of this episode. So make sure that you stay tuned and listen all the way to the end. So Sam, how's your Christmas holiday and your New Year's Eve?
It was amazing. And being able to spend our first Christmas with our son, Isaac, and just kind of seeing all the magic that really happens around. Christmas is for the kids, right? I've always kind of thought that, and holidays, the gifts and this time with family. Obviously, you get to spend time with family as adults, but it's really the magic is really watching the kids kind of be able to do that. Now, obviously, Isaac's not quite old enough to fully understand what the meaning of the holidays are, but it was still really cool just seeing him get to see extended family for the first time, and just all the pictures we got, all the memories we created that he'll be able to look back on is absolutely just so much fun to watch. And so, yeah, it's amazing. How was yours? How was your holiday?
It was good. I can see how special it would be for you to have the first Christmas with, like you said, like extended family. Like you're no longer two anymore. It's family of three and so on. So yeah. I can see how, that's exciting and whatnot. Yeah, ours was good as well. Christmas, we had good dinners with family. But one thing that I wanted to share with you and the listeners is a tradition that Kayla and I have on New Year's Eve. And every year, so we've been together, this is our 13th year together. And every year, usually we do what is called a vision board review. So on the 31st, we have dinner, we make tea, and then we go over our vision board over the past year, and then we change the pictures, and then we update it for the upcoming year based on what we want to achieve, where we want to go, both professionally and personally. But one thing that we did this year, and that was Kayla's idea, is, I don't know where she found this actually, but basically what you do is you set a timer of 2 to 3 minutes. And in that timer, you use your phone and you go back to the pictures that you've taken throughout that month. And then you write down like the highlights of the month based on your pictures or even your memory. And then after the timer is up, then you debrief. So you do that for 12 months in a row. It doesn't take like too long. And it was such an amazing exercise to review kind of the highlights of the year and stuff that I really forgotten. And then just going back to the pictures and reliving those memories. I thought it was such a fun exercise that, that's going to be a new part of our yearly tradition to like end the year. And then also after we've done that exercise, then we kind of highlighted what we want to accomplish every month, for the next 12 months, just at a high level. And anyhow, it was really fun to relive this experience and brings a lot of joy.
That's amazing. We got to do that. Just kind of looking back. My wife's really good with the pictures stuff. Like she has every month, she has a subscription to this booklet company that basically you submit all your pictures that you want to highlight for the month, and they print a booklet highlighting those pictures, and it's kind of the new version of a photo album, I guess. And so we've got I think we started this in June when Isaac was born. We've got 7 booklets now of photos that we can that have highlighted the month, and so we can just go back and look through those photos and stuff. Yeah, it's an amazing exercise though. We didn't do anything like that, but I might have to start.
Yeah, I love that. It's so good, to relive those experiences and to have those memories as well. Like you said, in pictures, we have lots of albums and stuff, and that's also one of the reasons why I think I post as well on Instagram. It's an easy way to just go back and relive experiences. Sometimes people think, oh, why do you post and whatnot? But that one reason is very selfishly. It's just for me. Sometimes I go back and I relive some trips and it brings me a lot of happiness. I can't remember where I was reading this, but basically when you go on, say, a certain trip, so you live a certain experience, has dividends. It pays dividends throughout your lifetime. It's not only just when you lived it, but you just carry that happiness and that joy throughout your life. So anyhow, those are easy ways to live that.
It makes a lot of sense too. And I think our generation is much more focused on experiences and carrying those through life versus things and accumulating things. I would much rather go on a trip than invest every year into the latest, I guess, Xbox or PlayStation model, or get the newest TV on the market, things like that. I don't care. Our TV's like 5 years old. We're actually cutting subscriptions this year just because we feel like we don't need them. I think at the end of the day, I would much rather invest any of that money into creating memories. But the interesting thing is whenever we go on trips, like Banff for us is a staple in our travels. And so I've found that journaling on those trips and recording the days helps it imprint much more in my mind than just going through the experiences and not really recording any of the moments or memories. And we take pictures and stuff, but you have to go back to those to find them. But when I journal about things, it really brings it to life over the long term, which I think is really special. So we're looking forward to doing a few more of those this year and just getting away from all the noise and just focusing on ourselves, our relationship, our family. And it's great. It's a most looked forward to moments of the year for me.
Kayla does the same thing as you as far as journaling everything, like where we ate and where we visited and so on. When we were in Portugal last year, she did that. And it's brilliant, like, because she keeps the booklets and then you can go back. And you're right, like when you take pictures and whatnot, you're not necessarily going to remember exactly where was it and so on. So it's such a great way to keep track of that. Yeah.
I have a question for you. Mm-hmm. So we're talking about goals here today. And I think everyone is in that mindset, or a lot of people are in that mindset right now. It's January, it's a new year, it's time for a fresh start. Why should people pay attention to what we have to say around goal setting? Specifically, what you have to say around goal setting, because I feel like your journey uniquely highlights the power of goal setting. And I'd love for you to talk about that a little bit.
That's a great question. Let me think about this for a second. Why should people listen to us? I think through the goals that we will share with you today, personally, ideally, you'd be able to take inspiration from that or look at a model that has worked for others. And then hopefully you can apply it for yourself based on your own goals, and that would work for you. So that's one of my objectives, to share with you how we do it personally, how we help clients do it, of course, through like their financial plans and whatnot, but other things we help them is beyond the financial plan as well. But yeah, so that you can take that blueprint and then implement it for yourself. And now there's many ways that you can do that may work for you, but through our experiences and through our own ways of achieving our goals, hopefully you'll learn something that is practical. That's the objective in this one.
Yeah.
What about you, Sam? What do you think?
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head from like, hey, we've been doing this for a long time, but also there's other areas of our lives too, not just necessarily in building a business, but also personal health, personal fitness journeys and stuff like that we've applied some of these same models that we've learned from some of the experts around goal setting, business building to help us hit our goals. And that's where we're going to dive in deep today to kind of go through like, what does that journey look like? At the end of the day, there's so much out there that can be just tossed aside in terms of, well, this isn't real advice. You can't just write down your goals every day for a year and it'll magically appear in front of you. There actually has to be actionable steps you take. There has to be accountability. There has to be those types of things implemented. And so we'll walk you through a few frameworks that have worked really well for our business and for ourselves personally. We'll give you some examples of that. Hopefully it's valuable for you, and we can help you take those things that you've been talking about for the last month and actually turn them into actionable items where you're tracking towards them and you have certain targets set and you're implementing the necessary measures to hit them.
And what you're referring to here is, we're going to share that with you in a second, but it's called the SMART model. But before we dive into the SMART model, this model can be applied, like we mentioned earlier, in all aspects of your life, whether it's business, professional, personal, travel, your health, fitness, wellness, and so on. But Sam, do you want to talk about how we implement the SMART model in our business and how we set what we call the widely important goals?
Yeah. I read a book about 5 years ago now, maybe even longer. It was called The 4 Disciplines of Execution. And it's probably one of the most practical books on actually how to accomplish your goals for your business, but it can be translated into other things as well, like your financial goals, your personal fitness goals, all of those things. And so a big part of how to set goals, and the first thing they teach you is to set goals that are things that you can measure and to set goals that are things that you can accomplish. So stretch targets are nice, but how are you actually going to hit them, right? And so there's two main components of tracking. So you need to set a goal that's trackable, that's achievable, and that has a deadline. And so that's really important. So you might, for instance, say, well, I want to save $50,000 by December of 2025, right? And that could be your wildly important goal. But just setting that goal does absolutely nothing, right? How are you going to achieve it? What are the steps you're going to take to achieve it? To save that much money, you need to save X amount per quarter, X amount per month, right? Which means you need to then go into your budget and say, okay, well, how am I going to actually save that? Then you need to have touch points along the way and review points along the way to say, am I actually on track to achieving it? Now, what most people get wrong about goal setting is they use their historical data to say, am I on track to achieving my goal? Well, when you look back, let's say you need to save 10,000, or let's say you save $5,000 a month, just as an example, right? You can't look back at the end of every month and say, well, did I save 5,000? I'm plus or minus my goal. What you have to do is you have to take action to save that money. So you have to review your budget. You have to cut back on expenses. You have to set up a separate savings account to put the money into. Those are all actions that will help you achieve that goal. And so we call those lead measures, things that are actionable, things that you can actually influence, right? You can influence how much you spend per month. You can't influence what's happened historically, though. And so the measure that you're tracking is called a lag measure. So you're actually tracking how much you save. But the lead measure are things that you are doing to actually save you money. So a lead measure to save $6,000 a month or $5,000 a month over the course of a year could be, I'm going to cut back on these subscriptions. It could be, we're going to eat out only 3 times a month instead of 10 times a month. It could be, we're going to start a side hustle to earn a little bit of extra income, right? And this is how it's going to look. Those are all lead measures, actionable things you can take. Now, the lag measure is, did I save the $5,000, right? And so we have to separate the two measures to actually know if you're achieving the goal. And then what you have to do is itemize the actual actions that you're going to take. So I'm going to cut Disney Plus. I'm going to cut eating out. I'm going to do all these things. And then weekly, you've got to look back and say, okay, well, did I actually implement this? How many times did we eat out? Okay, well, what's our goal for the next week to help influence the savings of $5,000 a month, right? So this could work in a personal journey of savings. It could work in a personal journey of health and fitness. It could work in a business and just designed to work in a business, right? Because again, so many businesses have these grandiose targets. We're going to increase revenue by 75% this year. Well, how are you going to do that? What actions do you need to take? You can't just put that as a target and organically hope it happens. You have to actually take action to make that work. And so that's what the system is. You set your wildly important goal. You set up a system to track it, which is your lag measure, the historical measure. And then you set the actionable items to accomplish it, which is your lead measure. And then you consistently touch base on the lead measure things that you're looking at accomplishing to make sure they're actually implemented. A real life example that we've used for the wildly important goal and like the actual tracking to show how it accomplishes the goals that we're trying to set. So back in November, we run ad campaigns to basically sell financial reviews, which then hopefully we provide enough value in the financial review that people want to work with us long term. And so when we were looking at our numbers, we noticed that a lot of the clients we were getting, prospects we were getting, weren't really ideal clients for us, just based on the way they were saving, current financial position. And so we needed to change that. We also noticed our conversion rates from financial reviews to financial plans were pretty low, and we wanted to increase those conversion rates. And so we set some pretty achievable targets of bumping up our conversion rates from 20% to 30%. So 20% of the clients that booked with us got financial plans. We wanted to bump that up to 30%. And so one of the things that the book 4 Disciplines of Execution teaches is focus on the highest leverage activities, right? So we can't just will our way and sell better in the financial review or provide more value in the financial review. we have to like look at the whole process from the ads that we're running to the landing page that we were using. Were we clearly defining who works well with us? Were we building out ads that gain interest to our target market? Those types of things. So we went through a whole overhaul of that system. And one of the big things we wanted to focus on was influencing at the top, right? Which is higher number of people that are ideal clients for us booking calls in the first place. So it was about, I think the number was 40% of the clients that booked or prospects that booked were ideal clients for us. I wanted to increase that to 60%. And so the reason I wanted to increase it to 60% was because even if we kept the same metrics at the bottom where we converted 20%, that still means that we're doing better as a business because we're getting more ideal clients at the top. And so what we did was we changed the format of the ads, and I changed the landing page with a who we work best with blurb on there, so that the people that we were trying to reach would know that this is for them. Like, who is this for page on the website? And so when we did that, what we found, and the one thing we also tried to influence as well is we needed a better structure in the financial reviews. We needed to show clients a little bit about how we worked with them long term. And so we built out a vision board, and we like a slide deck that shows like our vision, our process, our planning, the fees, all of that stuff. We wanted to leave 15 minutes in every financial review to do that. So influencing the top by who is this for, creating better ads, and then influencing when we actually have the meeting. Those were the lead measures. What can we influence? We can't influence how many people actually book with us, but we can influence what they see when they go to our website. And hopefully that will turn into the clients that we want long term. And so sure enough, starting in November, we did that. And exactly the targets that we wanted to achieve, we hit, right? We got, I believe the number is now 60% of the people that booked were ideal clients for us. And then from the actual presentations that we have and the restructure of the financial reviews, which was used to be just kind of very ad hoc, shoot from the hip, like, what's your problem? Here's a few ways to solve it. We went through, okay, this is what you're going to get. You're going to get a net worth projection report, a net worth snapshot. We're going to go over your taxes, and we're going to go over your investments for you. And those are the three things we're going to cover in the financial review. And then we're going to go through our vision deck and to show you how we work with clients long term. And sure enough, we translated from 40% ideal clients to 60% ideal clients booked, which is our high leverage activity. And then from that, we increased our conversion rate to, I think, around 40% of the people that booked to getting a financial plan, which is, again, a lot more than the 20%. And so just from those few changes, we set achievable targets, increased revenue, increased our ability to get the clients that we want to work with long term. And just from those few tweaks, focusing on high leverage activities, looking at the lead measures, the things we can influence. And then when we look back at the lag measure, we're actually hitting that target. And so that was something that was really cool that we've done just in the last few months that shows that these are actionable items and actionable steps that you can take. So whether you're running a business or whether it's your personal fitness journey or whether it's your financial journey, this works, right? It works as long as you are consistent and track and hold yourself accountable to the goal.
Yeah. One thing you also significantly improve is your messaging from the get-go, which is why it's influencing the qualified clients that are booking a meeting with us, which is something that is actually very challenging. Everyone in marketing or advertising is always looking to have the right messaging that lands with the right clientele. And that is such a key. And I think you're really becoming an expert at it the more and more that you do it. And it's such a tough thing to do. I think the other thing you also mentioned that is great is the financial review itself. So for people who are listening to this episode, what a financial review consists, it's an hour-long meeting, and it will give you a snapshot of where you currently are and where you're heading based on the few goals that you're highlighting in that meeting. And what we want to show you is highlight a few opportunities of improvement that will help you get there, sooner, faster, more efficiently, whether it's optimizing your investments, reducing your taxable income over your lifetime, avoiding common mistakes that maybe if you're a DIY investor, you've been working with advisors have been making, and also show you how we work with clients to give you a glimpse of what our long-term relationship will look like. So this is what we aim to achieve. And that's been, the outcome of this has been a lot better as far as giving you a sense of how we work with you, how we can help you. And then as well, again, moving to the next step, which would be a full comprehensive financial plan and then becoming a long-term client. if that
Yeah, and
works.
we'll link the financial review in the comments so that if you guys are wanting that, we can provide that for you in the new year as well.
Awesome. Sam, do you want to talk about some of the health, fitness, and wellness goals that you have for 2025?
Sure. I'm curious to hear yours as well, but for me, I'm a competitor. Like I used to play competitive sports and all that stuff, and mostly soccer. And in February of 2023, I got injured playing soccer. Like weird injury for a soccer player, but I tore my UCL in my elbow, and I tore a ligament in my shoulder as well. And that put me out for a pretty long time. I hate not exercising, not being active, not competing. And so basically for about a year, there was a lot of pain if I ever tried to actually like even do things like running, weirdly enough. My arm would start to really throb, my elbow would swell up, all that stuff. So even like things that didn't involve that, it would really start to, yeah, it was frustrating, right? Because I've always been active, I've always exercised, and I just wasn't able to for almost a year there. And so when Guillaume and I ended up working together and he kind of introduced me to CrossFit and that type of training, I was like, you know what, maybe this is something I can do. So I started getting a little bit of physio for my shoulder and elbow. I started seeing an osteo, and that really helped my pain journey. And I was able to really start consistently working out. And so this past year has been amazing. Got back in shape. I'm feeling great. And one of the things I thought about, okay, well, maybe I want to start actually getting back into the competitive side of sports, I guess. But again, I don't feel like I can go back and play soccer or basketball or anything like that, because if I do get injured, I have a kid now. I need to be able to walk up and down the stairs or carry my son, right? Like, so there's a few things that I'm like, okay, I don't think I can actually like go back into sports. But when it comes to CrossFit, there's like these amateur competitions and stuff like that you can go. And I'm by no means like an expert CrossFit athlete at this point. I'm still very much early in my journey, but my goal this year is to do an amateur like scaled competition in CrossFit and be able to compete in that event. I don't have any goals in terms of where I want to finish. It's my first one. I know I'm not going to finish very highly, but I want to get back into that competitive like environment. And so for me, what that means is instead of kind of the 4 to 5 times a week of exercise to train for that, I now get to, I haven't like picked out the event that I want to compete in yet. But when I do, what it's going to turn into is like, okay, what's the event? How many times a week do I need to exercise? Probably going to go to 6 to 7 times a week. What areas of weakness do I have that I need to focus on? Which for me is probably just general. Like I just need to get stronger. I need to get faster. I need to get more explosive, but those types of things. So I actually get to say, okay, like this is my schedule. This is the things I need to focus on throughout the week. And it gives me a reason to go 6 or 7 days a week instead of just the 4 or 5 to just stay in shape. And so that's going to be something that's, again, when we talk about the goal setting, that's going to be how I'm formatting it, where it's like, okay, competition is in May or June. I have this much time to build up to it. This is the level I need to be at. Okay, so great. How do I influence what I can do today, which is how many times I go to the gym, the type of activities I work on, and the areas of weaknesses that I need to strengthen. And so, yeah, that's going to be my 2025 health and fitness goal. What about yours? So what's on the docket for you?
Wow. I love your comment when you talk about when you were running, your shoulders was hurting. Because running is such a full body, especially trail running, it's such a full body workout. And you think that it's only a leg workout, maybe lower body, just no, it's actually extremely core and lower back intensive. And you need to have a really strong upper body to have a good posture. And I'm learning that the hard way with trail running. But my goals for 2025, I have 3 main goals. One is a half marathon in March here on Vancouver Island. And then I have a trail run of 50K. So my first ultra marathon in July on the island as well. And that's going to be around 1,800 meters of elevation. And then the last goal for the year is going to be in October, which is going to be High Rocks. And for those who are listening, so High Rocks is a extremely fast growing competition around the world. It started in Europe, and I discovered it when I was in Portugal last summer. But basically what it is, it's a 1K lap or 1K run, and then you do a station. So a row, a ski erg, sled push, sled pull, burpees, farmer's carry, wall balls, right? And then you do 1K, you do a station, 1K, you do a station. So it's 8K of running, and then with stations in between at an extremely high heart rate. So it's very intense. You're basically all out for, depending how fit you are, 1 hour to 2 hours, depending on your fitness level. But yeah, that's going in October. So those are my three: a half marathon, which I don't really have a time yet per se, because I'm still in the, improving, I would say, fat, like, drastically. But ideally would be in the 130s, which would be like pretty fast for me. It would be a huge PR. And then the 50K, I don't have like a time yet. But as we go throughout the year, I can update you on the times there throughout the podcast if the listeners are interested. But yeah, those are the goals.
So you did High Rocks last year, and I know running is a bit not necessarily a new thing, but like it's something you focused on a lot more since High Rocks. So kind of in the spirit of setting those goals and working to achieve them, what's your weekly regimen look like? And like, how have you kind of set it up today to say, okay, in 4 months or 5 months, I'm going to hit the half marathon. In 7 months, I'm going to hit the ultra, and then we're going to do the High Rocks again. What are some of the steps you're taking now to actually help you get there?
Yeah, actually, the first step is I'm working with a coach. I'm working with a running coach. And I used to be, this is very topical to kind of what we're doing, but I used to be a DIY pretty much all my life. Like, I work with CrossFit coaches, but also I'm just a fitness enthusiast, I guess, and look things online and chat GPT and my nutrition and running programs. And then I did a training camp. I just finished a 4-day training camp where we ran 82K. And then 3,700 meters of elevation. And this coach here has a team and organize like group runs every Wednesdays and Sundays. So I've joined them over the past 3 months, which are mostly free for the most part. But I decided to hire him and work with him. And we started January 1st officially. And that's when I realized how clueless I was in how to prepare for those events. And that's the difference between working with a professional versus trying to do everything on your own. Because there's no way that I can know as much as someone who is qualified as, almost a pro triathlete who now transitioned to, trail running and long distance running. So to answer your question is, he's helped me structured, which is now it's about 4 days a week, but he's structuring even the long runs, the heart rate on the long runs, the distances, the tempo workouts, the trail runs, the interval training, and then the trail on the weekend and whatnot. So, mixing all those modalities together, different time domains, different intensities, different heart rates. That's where I'm realizing the value of working with a professional and how much of a difference it will make. So I can't wait to see the PR that I'm going to get in March. That's what we're going to, and then he's helping me basically get ready for this. And then he's going to help me get ready for the ultra marathon as well. And I think he's going to also help me for the High Rocks. Although with High Rocks, I'm also going to work with probably the CrossFit coach closely, because High Rocks and CrossFit are very closely related. And we have a CrossFit Games athlete here at the gym. So insane amount of experience and knowledge around planning. So yeah. So we're working with a professional can help you speed up and improve your likelihood of success significantly.
Yeah. And when you're looking at your week and the little things that you have to do to prepare on a weekly basis, again, it's not just about setting the goal. It's then about looking, like, reverse engineering it and like, what are the little things I need to do today that can help influence the outcome? And so, one, get a personal trainer or a run coach, right? 2, okay, well, I've actually got to implement what they say, right? And then 3, okay, well, I've got to track, am I actually trending towards hitting a personal best, right? What's my per kilometer run time? What's my fitness level? What's my heart rate? Like, all of those things, that all needs to improve over a long period of time. And that's what you're tracking. So that would be your lag measure. But your lead measure is, okay, I'm actually doing 4 or 5 runs a week. I'm actually doing the other exercises that lead into being a better runner. I'm following through every week. And those are the lead measures that you can influence to help you accomplish your goals, right? It's really cool how to see this, how this can translate from a health perspective to a business perspective to a finance perspective. It really is just a model that you can plug into anything.
Yeah, we use Conquest for financial planning, but they use Training Peaks, which is a similar dashboard, and the level of analytics in there is crazy. Every ratios you can get, it's the breakdowns and the depth of analysis into the training, the results of the trainings, different stats around the trainings that we're starting to track right now. It's amazing. And I'm a huge data fanatic, especially on the health and fitness side and the nutrition side as well. Everything is captured there, and it's the equivalent of what we do on the financial planning side, which is amazing.
Awesome. Do you want to talk about SMART goals and what that looks like?
Sure. Yeah. So the SMART model basically was introduced to provide a clear, practical framework for setting goals to improve your likelihood of success. And that was originated in the 90s. And ultimately, it was created as a paper titled, There's a Smart Way to Write Management's Goals and Objectives. This was designed for corporations and help management set corporate goals, to help them to be more successful. And then it was widely adopted for personal and professional goal settings in many fields, whether it's financial, health, fitness, wellness, and whatnot. So SMART stands for specific. Specific means clearly define what you want to achieve. Measurable, quantify your goal so progress can be tracked. Achievable, ensure the goal is challenging but realistic. Relevant, this is the why. So align your goal with your financial priorities and values. And then time bound, set a deadline to create urgency. So examples would be, and I'm going to walk you through this example in a second, but it's, let's say you want to build, and we hear that a lot. That's why I chose that example specifically. Let's say you want to build a $1 million investment portfolio over a 10, 20, or 30-year period. We'll see the differences there. But let's say you want to start with a $1 million investment portfolio by January 2035. So in 10 years from now, through consistent contributions and market growth. That would be an example of a goal. So it's specific. We can measure it. It can be achievable depending on what's your starting point. I'm assuming $100,000 is starting investment portfolio, and then it's going to depend also on your savings rate. So some with a higher saving rate might be able to get there in 10 years. If you have a lower saving rates, it might take you 20 or 30 years, and we'll see the differences there. It's achievable, and then it's relevant. This is where I love our approach, and this is a bit of a tangent here, but when we go through the financial planning exercise with client, there's one specific meeting that we walk them through, and it's goals and values. This is where we get to know you, your past experiences with money, money habits, how you grew up around money, and how your past behaviors, whether it's from your parents or yourself, are shaping your view of money today. And this is also aligned with the goals or the money goals that you may have and the values that you may have around money and the why you want to achieve those things. Understanding that and being aligned with that is truly important. And then in time bound, in any goals, it's really important to have a deadline, because as we know, as humans, we tend to procrastinate. And if there's no time attached to it, remember your homework in school, if the teacher is giving you 2 months, you're getting it done. Some people will get in advance, but the majority of people usually kind of wait until they have to do it. If it's something that is not, they're not necessarily passionate about doing it. And that's the SMART model. So step 1 is to set a SMART goal. Step 2 is to break goals into smaller milestones. So divide your bigger goal into smaller ones with actionable steps. So if, for example, if your goal is to save $1 million portfolio in 10 years, and in year 1, you start with $100,000, then that's going to require you to save $4,500 a month from year 1 to 10 and invest in a globally diversified portfolio of equities with an expected rate of return of 7.5%. Now, not everyone may have a saving rate of $4,500 a month, but that's a linear extrapolations or projections as well, right? Depending on, market scenarios and whatnot, you might get there sooner, you might get there later. But if that's too high for you, then you might want to stretch your goals over a 20-year period. So if you want to achieve the same $1 million portfolio, you'll need to save $1,000 a month. And that's the...
And how long?
For 20 years. For 20 years. And that's where the importance of starting early and letting time compound. Because now instead of saving $4,500 a month, it's $1,000 per month, which can be a lot more manageable for a lot of people. That means maybe postponing buying a new car or, again, like Sam mentioned, like reviewing the few expenses that may be unnecessary. And then easily by having a good process around tracking your earning and your spending, then you can probably, or you can have an easier time to find or save $1,000 a month. And then we can talk about this also is about, focusing on how can you increase your income, which is one of the greatest thing that you can do, or you have control over, at least in terms of lead measures, is increasing how much you can earn, whether it's investing in your education, investing in your skills, getting a promotion, starting a business. The opportunities are endless there, right? But if $1,000 a month is too much of a stretch for you to save, then you might want to stretch your goals over a 30-year period. And over a 30-year period, If you start with $100,000, then you only need to save $43 per month. And that can be a subscription membership or maybe a few Netflixes, or maybe reducing your phone bill and going with like less data or something, right? So that might be, or skipping eating out for one day, right? That can be a lot more manageable. But again, there's a lot of caveats here, because now you need to be patient and be consistent for 30 years. So,
there's a really good quote by Bill Gates, and he says, he says, you overestimate what you can accomplish in 1 year, and you underestimate what you can accomplish in 10 years. And what I look at behind that is we want things to change instantly. We're motivated. It's a new year. We're saying, I want to do X, or I want to do Y by X. Like I want to lose 50 pounds by December of 2025. And we're going to overestimate and set stretch targets because we're super motivated. We're going to hit the gym every day. But the realistic thing is that if you weren't going to the gym before, you're probably not going to start going every day, right? But maybe 2 to 3 times a week is a very reasonable thing to hit. And maybe you won't lose 50 pounds in a year, but maybe you'll lose 50 pounds in 2 years, right? And that is still working your way up to doing that is still a very, very good target. And one of the things I often see is people setting these stretch targets because they read a motivational book or listen to a motivational speaker or something like that. And like, even I've gotten caught up in it myself. And like, I want to grow the business by this much in revenue this year, right? And realizing like, okay, well, that may not necessarily be attainable if I wasn't close to doing that in the prior year. And so what we have to understand is when we're setting targets, they need to be achievable. And that the A in the SMART goal is it has to be achievable or attainable. And because we haven't necessarily, some of us may not have had experience in setting attainable goals in the past, we vastly overestimate what we can accomplish in a year, but we vastly underestimate what we can accomplish in 10 years. And so the big thing here is building consistency and discipline. And if that's what you focus on, that is going to supercharge your ability to accomplish your goals over the long term. The first year, it's going to be a struggle, just creating the discipline to say, I'm going to save $1,000 a month. I'm going to save $4,500 a month for some people who are able to do that. It's going to be hard because you're going to have to change your behaviors. You're going to have to learn how to do things differently. And our brains are wired in terms of what we've been doing in the past, we're going to keep doing, right? And so we have to change those behaviors. That's going to be the hardest part. But once you're able to change those behaviors, then you're able to really start accomplishing your goals over a long period of time. And you'll be amazed at what that can do over a 3, 4, 5, or 10-year period. But my advice to people when they're setting goals that they've never really been able to accomplish before is start focusing on the behaviors. Those are the lead measures that will help you accomplish your long-term goals. And don't just get caught up in I got to lose 50 pounds by the end of this year or else this year's a failure, because inevitably you're going to slip back into your old habits after the motivation wears off, after the gym starts getting really, really difficult, after it starts getting hard waking up at 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. in the morning to actually do that, because that's the only time you have. You've got to change behaviors first.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, one thing I also stress is, or learn along the way myself, is enjoying the journey. It doesn't matter what you're doing, like really loving the process. And that makes almost the goal irrelevant or less important per se. Because if you're only there for the goal, and there's a lot of things that I've achieved that the fulfillment and the happiness, and I'm thinking about, maybe some competitions I've done. It wasn't like when you cross the finish line in a marathon that, that's the happy. Like, yeah, sure, you feel fulfilled at that point in time. But if you didn't enjoy the race or you didn't enjoy the training and whatnot, that it makes, it's a different outcome. So if you enjoy getting closer to that goal and improving every day, I think that's going to become a part of who you are as a person, whether you're achieving that goal or not. And then also it's going to be easier to have a system around it, which is step number 3, is create a system for daily progress and to focus on the habits and the actions to stay consistent. If that becomes part of who you are and part of your identity, and that can be a run 4 or 5 times a week, or I wake up early, or in our example, I need to save X amount. Then you start automating your money contributions into your investment accounts. Forces you in a way to stay consistent. And then when you have like windfalls, whether it's a bonus or a tax refund, then having a structured budget in the first place, but because it's who you are, you're on top of your finances, you're tracking fairly well how much money you're earning, how much money is left, how much you're spending, how much money is left to invest. And then you have your monthly saving goals, and you know that longer term you need to or want to accumulate a certain amount by the time you retire. Then you automate that. Then it makes the whole process easier, that once you do have those windfalls, you can invest them, and it's just become automatic, right? So you don't have to think about it, whether it's
Yeah, there was a study, an interesting study done on people trying to quit smoking. It was looking at how they identify themselves in their journey to quitting smoking. And so basically the story goes that, one person offered a cigarette to two people who were both trying to quit smoking. And the one person refused the cigarette and said, "No, thanks, I'm trying to quit." And the other person refused the cigarette and said, "No, I don't smoke anymore." And so one person identified themselves as a current smoker that is trying to quit. The other person identified themselves with a new identity as a non-smoker. And they found that people who identified themselves as non-smokers actually had a higher success rate of permanently quitting smoking than people who identify themselves as in the process of trying to quit, because they've taken on a new identity. And if you've ever read the book Atomic Habits, which I highly encourage, I read it over the break. One of the things that it teaches in there is you have to identify yourself as the person you are trying to become. So if you're trying to be healthy, you don't refuse the Big Mac and fries because, well, no, I'm trying to be healthier. You make the decision beforehand. Hey, I'm craving McDonald's, but what would a healthy person do in this situation? And I'm a healthy person, and a healthy person would potentially say, okay, well, maybe not today. Maybe I'm cutting this down to once a week and I've already had it this week. So I'm going to go and I'm going to get ground beef from the store and make myself a burger that's actually healthy at home, right? Something like that. And so you have to kind of change your mindset into identifying who you are wanting to become. And then that'll help you along your journey as well. And so that was fascinating to me, as like how you identify is what you're likelier to become, at least. Just a fascinating study. And in this role, like, what would a wealthy person do? Would a wealthy person spend 10% of their savings or 10% of their income in a month on a vehicle payments, or would they invest that money? Would they spend 10% of their income on a new Xbox, or would they invest that money? Right. And so those are the types of things that if you can get into the right mindset and framing, that will help you accomplish your goals as well.
Yeah. And also, I mean, this is tied also to be very clear onto your why, like why you're doing this and why this is truly important for you. Because if your why is above everything else, it's going to be a lot easier. And yeah, that's one thing I notice. If things are really important for me, then I will make them a priority.
Yeah, that was true for me this year as well, because back in like March, April, I was still trying to really get in the mindset. I was so unmotivated to get back into the gym. And my wife was like 7 months pregnant at the time. And then it kind of just clicked for me that, man, if I bend down and pick up my son and throw my back out, like that's going to suck. If I don't have the energy to keep up with him when he's crawling and running around, that's going to be awful, right? And so for me, that was like my why was like, I need to get fit. I need to get stronger. I need to get in better shape because I need to be able to be there for my son. And to me, that reason why is so much bigger than I want to run a half marathon in X amount of time because it would feel good, right? And because I'd be in great shape and my friends would all think I'm awesome, right? It's like, I've got to, like, the bigger the reason why, the more likely you are to stick to the individual things that help you be healthier, wealthier, those types of things.
Yeah. Well, step 4 is measure progress regularly. And this is so crucial. In our example here, it's, of course, tracking your savings, how much you were able to save. Some months it might be more than others, depending on the season, depending on unforeseen circumstances in life. But tracking and measuring the progress regularly. Also, be on top of whether it's through your advisor or planner, but your portfolio balances, or if you're managing money yourself, similar to like your credit score or any other metrics around your financial information. There's a number of metrics that I love to share, with clients. There's the 90-day rule where, how much you can basically save every 90-day period based on how much you're earning, how much you're spending. So to see the spread, if the spread is, widening or narrowing. So being on top of that, but tracking you have to do it. And in our business, like Sam mentioned, like how many bookings we're meeting, what's the conversion rates, and that all those lag measures are telling us, is our messaging clear? Are we being effective? Are we getting in front of the right people? Are we and then, in the financial plans themselves, so the financial reviews, providing you with tangible advice that can, save taxes, improve your returns, help you retire earlier, and then quantifying this, but measuring the progress that can be made or is being made is so crucial. And then this is on the health side as well. Like I mentioned to you with the dashboard that we have on the running side is the paces, the heart rate. So are you holding a lower heart rate for the same paces? Now you're getting fitter. So it's all to those measures that you can have an objective view of, okay, am I getting closer or further from my goal?
Yeah. How often do you think is ideal for people to sit down and track goals? Because I know in the 4 disciplines of execution, when it's talking about business metrics, it's weekly, right? You go over your lead measures for the week. Did you accomplish them? Are you tracking on a weekly basis? What do you think? What's the ideal measurement to form habits so that you can continuously track this?
I think it depends on the field that you're in. If we look at our businesses, because we're in like private wealth management, I believe that, what we review officially them every month, where we sit down and, review all the metrics. But if we were in a higher transaction business, then probably more frequently would make sense. But I don't think, because we are in I would say low volume transaction business, it takes a lot of time to just onboard a client, build a plan and whatnot. Like I think once a month is great. Would say for running with my coach, we have check-ins every 2 weeks. So 2 weeks is a good period to see, are you draining yourself? Are you working yourself too hard and whatnot? So I would say it depends of the, what's best for your business, the field you're in, and how much tweaking is needed as well. I mean, if you look at your portfolio balances, like we have check-ins with clients every 3 months, and we have 2 semi-annual reviews with them. And so that's a great point. I mean, unless there's like major changes in between that, then we would have ad hoc meetings. I think this is a great timeline. Actually, if you invest for 20 or 30 years, I would probably argue that the less you look at your investment accounts, the better. So you kind of want to, save, again, focus on your potential income and then your saving rates. And after that, you want to lose your password, so to speak, and just let it compound until, and then, tune out the noise in the media. I think those are usually will help you more than being, checking your balance every weekly and reacting to market movements, right? If you look at the statistics and what the science says around investing.
Makes sense.
So step number 5, stay accountable. So in this example, if you work with a professional financial planner, and then they are the one who will also help you stick to the investment strategy, help you stay disciplined. Of course, they are tracking your portfolio values and your investments for you, although you have a dashboard. But if you're a DIY investor, then this is on you. You have to hold yourself accountable, and that can be very challenging. Do you find yourself difficult to stay accountable once you've implemented, processes and whatnot?
Yeah, in almost every aspect, it's like having an accountability partner in the journey is so crucial, because you are going to be an unreliable accountability partner for yourself, because there's always a million reasons why you can't do something. But then when you have to justify it to someone else, they may question you on that. They may say, are you sure, or is this an excuse? And things like that. Like when I've worked with clients, like in the past, we've done I've worked with some clients on a monthly basis for cash flow planning, and we've implemented a goal, or we've set a target, and then monthly we'll check in with them to say, are you on track to hitting your target? What's new? What are the challenges this month? And those types of things. That's really helped them stay on track. But if they were just doing it in amongst themselves, there was justification to go off track quite a bit. And then when we brought it back into the bigger picture, it was like, oh yes, this is what we're trying to accomplish. This is our reason why we're trying to accomplish it. We can still hit these targets and maybe redirect money from elsewhere to accomplish these other things that we're wanting to accomplish. But having that accountability partner, I think, helps manage behaviors. And realistically, as advisors, that's the most valuable service we can bring to the table. For coaches, for personal trainers, the most valuable thing that you can bring to the table isn't necessarily the structure of your workouts, right? Because you can build the best workouts in the world, and if the people look at them and read them and memorize them and never do them, they don't matter, right? We can build the best financial plans, cash flow plans, business plans, whatever in the world. The people didn't implement them, it does not matter. And so our biggest value coming into this, and the things that I've found the most value in when I've hired people to help with my own journey, is the accountability. And I'm willing to pay for that. Like, I'm willing to pay more for a membership to a gym that does personal training and group classes and helps me optimize my form than just spending $15 a month to go to a Fit for Less, right? It's because I know that I'm getting the results I want to achieve. And that's as simple as it gets. It's the accountability piece.
That is so well said. Oh, we're paying a huge premium to work out at a CrossFit gym compared to the alternative. But if I look at what I'm getting in return, the environment, the intensity, and the structure, again, like I said, like the head coach is a ex-CrossFit Games athlete, like that to me is worth way more than what I'm paying. There's no way I would have achieved, just to side note here with the listeners, but we went through a strength program, from October to December, and I got my lifts like pretty high up, things that I haven't done in a long time. If you're a geek around like lifting and stuff, like deadlift was like 450 pounds for 4, back squat was 365 pounds for 3. So those are kind of like the two, but I haven't had that like in a while. But my point is the environment, the structure, the programs, there's no way I would have, I think, achieved that, on my own, or had the motivation and the accountability to do that just on my own. Although it's possible, but I think it would have been a lot harder. But on the financial side, this is one of the greatest value add that we bring to help you stay accountable and also elevate, your optimization around all your financial affairs, because we're professional. That's what we do all day long. That's what we research. That's what we're deepening in knowledge around. So it's going to be really hard for you to compete and learn everything that it has to know if you already have a career or you're already growing a business, right? That's why you're using or choosing to offload that responsibility to someone else. Step number 6, develop resilience. So in our example here around your investment journey, so you need to be prepared for market volatility and some downturns, and that can be very draining emotionally. Saving while your portfolio keeps going down and going down, that can be very disappointing or discouraging. Sorry, that would be the right word. How do you find resiliency and in clients or in in yourself or in your experiences?
Yeah, first of all, when we talk to clients around market volatility, what our main message is that volatility and price movements are the cost of good long-term returns. If you just want something that's never going to move and it's just going to go up consistently and there's never going to be any peaks or valleys, GICs, right? Locking in your money, consistent 2 to 5% rates of return depending on the market, right? You're never going to lose money, but you're never really going to grow quickly or at larger numbers. It's kind of like, can you travel across the ocean in a rowboat? Sure, but it might take you a very long time and you might never actually accomplish your goals, right? And so would you rather fly there in a jet, right? And you get a little bit of turbulence along the way. And so those are the ways we talk about it. Like volatility is the price to pay for consistent long-term good returns. But framing it in a way too with our clients where they're consistently investing, they view market downturns as natural because we've educated them on how markets work, how every 3 out of every 10 years, there's probably going to be a correction or a decrease or a loss in that current year. But every 7 out of 10 years is likely going to be positive in the stock market, right? Those types of things where they can understand that we don't know which 3 years, and neither do they, and neither does anyone know what 3 years are going to be negative. But in order to get the good long-term returns, they actually do have to stay invested over those negative years and looking at the data behind it. So you can rationalize it. So I try to rationalize it a lot with our clients. But then there is those emotions of, hey, I've heard that markets are going to crash in 2025. Seen some headlines about this already, right? 2025 is going to be a bad year in the markets. Number one, those people don't know what they're talking about, right? They may be very smart people, but they don't have a crystal ball. And then I went back, actually, you can find this on my Twitter. I went back and looked at the 2023 predictions for 2024. And the headlines were like 60% crash in the market likely in 2024, or why we're about to enter a long-term bear market, or, on and on and on, negativity and fear. And so I'm not saying that we're never going to have a negative year. Obviously, we had one in 2022, right? But what I'm saying is that those headlines are designed to drive fear. And when we're looking at coaching clients along this journey, it's about discipline, it's about being boring, it's about staying invested, and it's about consistently investing over time and realizing that, because we work with people mostly in the accumulation stage, realizing that negative years in the markets are an opportunity, if you're consistently investing, to buy into the market at a lower price than you were able to buy in the previous year. And that is a good opportunity for you to be able to increase your long-term expected returns on the money that you're investing in that year. And so if we kind of look at that, like, hey, our favorite brands are going on sale, we don't avoid shopping because our favorite brands are on sale. That's when we buy more. Now, I'm not suggesting people go and store cash and try to time the market, but not investing in that time, not consistently investing monthly according to your long-term plan, doesn't make any sense logically. And so you just have to understand that. And that's what I talk to clients about in terms of how to structure their long-term approach to consistently investing.
Yeah, volatility is the price to pay for higher returns. This is so key in investing. And sometimes like you mentioned, most of our clients are in the accumulation phase. And if you get nervous with equities, you can just pull statistics. Over a 20-year period, US equities have never been down. So again, if you have a 20-year period, then you can have the reassurance that probability are extremely high for, again, we don't know what the future holds, but that your portfolio is going to be up over a 20-year period. So then you can ignore the market fluctuations, on your way there.
Yeah.
I think that's one thing. Another thing, I think was funny you said is actually I know someone from the gym who sailed the Atlantic Ocean a couple of times with her dad. And she was telling me about that last year. I can't remember how many weeks it took, but it was crazy. A really unreal story.
Wow.
I'm not a sailor, so I know I'm a decent swimmer, but I don't know if I would, like, what I mean by this is, like, I've never been on boats, like, for long periods at a time. Like, I don't know if I would sail the Atlantic. Like, to me, that would like scare me a little bit. Like, that's a long time at sea. So anyway.
Oh, no way. I could never do that. I'm like, if I ever get on a boat that goes further than like a kilometer offshore, it's got to be a cruise ship.
Yeah. Step number 7 is celebrate wins. So acknowledge your milestones. Again, if you're on a saving, you save your first $100,000. And then after that, if you have some yearly contribution, whether it's $43 a month, $1,000 a month, $4,500 a month, find a timeline that works best for you, whether it's 6 months or a year, and really take the time to celebrate what you've accomplished. And I have a quick story on this that I want to share with you. So, like I mentioned, Kayla and I, we've been together this is our 13th year. And we got engaged. I proposed to her at our 10th year anniversary. But get this. When I was younger, I was like, okay, I'm going to propose to her when I'm going to make my first $100,000. And then I was just thinking that like mentally, right? So I said, okay, I get there. And then once I get there, I was like, oh, no. I'm just going to propose to her when I actually save $100,000. Then, do you see the pattern? Because back in the day, I was extremely scarce around money, and that didn't matter how much I was making. It didn't matter how much I was saving. And, when we're in Toronto, we were living in a very low cost, like I would say, apartment. I was trying to save as much as possible, but my money mindset wasn't, I would say, right at the time. The story is, once I get $100,000 saved, then after that, I was like, oh no, when I get to 150, oh no, okay, when I get to 200. The point is, I was always moving the yardstick. And it's only when I worked at a family office and then I actually saw, again, what a $2 billion looks like portfolio, which was crazy. Like, even on a computer, like seeing those numbers. And then after that experience really sent me towards the path that I'm on, which is the financial planning journey and doing what I really wanted to do with my career. But this is what I had the biggest realization that, you can't be postponing those things. And, I proposed our 10-year anniversary. But to come back to this example here is, you might be saving and it might never be enough for you. So that's why you have to be very conscious and force yourself, for you and your spouse, your family. And it can be like a little dinner. It can be maybe even a dinner at home, a celebration at home, a small bottle of champagne, whatever that it represents for you. But find something to celebrate it. And I think Kayla and I are doing a lot better at doing it. But for a long time, I think we were never celebrating anything.
Mhm.
or taking the time to celebrate the achievements. And it can be like a run that you signed up for. Even after
Yeah.
that, take the time to celebrate it and enjoy it. And exams that you pass, right? This CFP is like, I feel that I've done so many exams. It's like you do your CFA and you just move on to the next. Right now, it's like, oh, maybe I should do the TP, and you brush it up. Oh, by the way, for the listeners who are watching this on YouTube, hope you're I know you're seeing.
Yeah.
I put it up over Christmas. This is the CFP certificate.
CFP. I noticed that the other day. That's amazing.
And yeah,
Because
yeah.
you
Yes.
that's been a long time coming for you. So now you're like
Yeah.
got as many designations as anyone else out there. That's crazy. Yeah.
Anyhow, that's important. Any celebration wins that you particularly like to do, whether it's personal or professional?
Yeah. So when it's a little bit different each time, right? Because we used to, go out for a really nice dinner if we hit a certain target or get each other a gift, that we still do, but we can't really go out for supper as much anymore with our little one in the house. In fact, we just went on like our first date alone. My parents were down here to watch Isaac since May, literally. Like that was the first time we've been out of the house on a date without our son with us. So like kind of little things like that are getting a little bit harder to do now. But yeah, like the celebrations can be personalized, and for us it often is personalized, like a little gift to commemorate. Like when I started and like rebranded and started Millennial Wealth, my wife got me like this personalized coffee mug that said like Millennial Wealth president and founder, right? And to me that was like super cool, and I use it almost like every day, right? And it's just a little reminder, like this is a really cool thing we were able to do. But definitely the reward system has to be there, because otherwise, we kind of touched on this earlier, you're not enjoying the journey, right? And the journey is life, right? Like you can't always just set goals and wait to enjoy your time until you've accomplished them, because it's always going to come to the next thing and then the next thing and the next thing. Got caught up in that so much, right? In building a business, it's always like, great, we're good for this month and next month, but what about the month after, right? And in 2024, one of my goals was really to live in the moment and stress less about like the next few months and the next year, and really enjoy the moment while still obviously keeping an eye out on the future. We say to this to our clients all the time. We want to like keep one eye on the present, one eye on the future, right? And so for me, I mean, like I could have been stressed about taking a month off and being with Isaac when he was first born. I could have been really stressed about not being able to work past 5:30 realistically on weekdays anymore because I've got to be present with my son. Or I can view that as, listen, this is like 5 years ago. If I had been in this situation, I would have been so happy. So why am I choosing not to enjoy this now? Right. And so the mindset shift around that was, I've got to enjoy this now. Not really care that I can't work till 7 or 8 o'clock at night. I can't, that, these different things are now on my plate. This is the point in life where I've worked really hard to get to the ability to take a month off, to be able to be present with my son. I've talked to so many people who have built businesses and they're like, yeah, I missed my kids growing up. And I'm like, that's never going to be me. Right. And so that's so meaningful to me. So that, I don't know, that when you're kind of on track to accomplishing those things, have to stay top of mind, because it really is about enjoying life in the interim. And the goals you set just help you stay disciplined. They become habits. You don't think about them anymore. And then you just live life outside of that. And that's been a really cool experience in 2024 and ongoing in 2025. And the really cool thing here is that I haven't missed a single significant event in Isaac's life since he's been born. His first time being able to roll over, his first tooth that he's popped, his first smiles or laughs or giggles that he made voluntarily, right? Like the growth stage, all the hard times and the good times. I haven't missed a single event in his life because I've been too busy working. And not that I still work quite a bit, but it's been an amazing time and I've taken it all in. And 2024 has been the best year of my life. And I'm looking forward to kind of the next few years.
That's awesome. I'm so happy to hear that. That's so important. That is so important. So I'm super happy to hear that you're able to witness, all those moments.
Yeah.
Because they'll happen more in the future, but at first they only happen for the first time. So they're special, right? Like,
yeah.
Cool. So step 8 is reflect and refine. So after each year, evaluate, again, coming back to our example, which was the saving example to help you get the amount of money that is needed to fund your retirement. Did you meet your contribution and growth targets? Are your investment choices aligned with your risk tolerance and goals? Are you taking enough risk? Can you take less risk to achieve the same goals? Are you optimized in, again, how your money is allocated? Now we can go deeper into the financial planning side of things, but we'll keep it light here in this discussion. The point is reevaluating, and that's why, in our model, we have quarterly check-ins and whatnot. I think the one thing that I would like to leave the listeners with is when they reflecting, okay, why is this goal important for you? Well, what is important for you to spend and allocate so much of your time trying to achieve this goal? And would you rather be spending your time achieving a different goal? And this can be whether in your career, and I've lived that myself. I've worked in a career where I thought that was bringing me the most happiness and fulfillment. And it's only pretty deep into it that I had to reorient, where I was heading, and finally found kind of where I am today. But again, it doesn't really matter how much you're earning. If you're not in a place, or you're not climbing the right mountain, so to speak, then try to reflect and refine, okay, how can I be on the right path? And we've helped clients like this where they explored changing different careers. Maybe it's living in a different city. Maybe it's taking a year off and go travel. I don't know. Maybe it's starting a family. Who knows what that means for you? But reflecting and refining, again, this is all tied to being clear on your goals. Why are they important for you? And coming back to what Sam said is enjoying the journey. And so that every year are just getting better and better. So,
yeah, that's amazing. I love this. I think I just want to, if we can quickly summarize this, and then are we going to link this structure into the show notes? I think we should, the steps, just a quick description of the steps.
Sounds good.
But if I can just quickly summarize the 8 steps here. But the first one is create smart goals and set smart goals. The second one is break your goals into smaller milestones. The third one is create a system for daily progress. The fourth one is measure progress regularly. The fifth one is stay accountable. 6th is develop resilience. 7 is celebrate wins. 8 is reflect and refine. And I think if you can build out your goals along this framework, set your action items, set your trackers, the things, create a scoreboard of how you're tracking, right? Those types of things. You can optimize this for any area of your life, for your career, if you want to grow in your corporate job, or if you want to grow your business, or if you want to do better in health, or if you want to quit smoking, or if you want to lose weight, whatever that looks like for you, you can use these systems that will help you have higher success in accomplishing your goals. And I love that this framework is so flexible and to be able to do that.
Yeah. The call to action for you guys is share one goal that you have for yourself in the comment section, if you don't mind. Also, if you're there, leave a review and subscribe to the podcast. If you're on Spotify, it's just a little click on the stars. Also, just as a reminder, you can join us on the Facebook group, which is the Financial Independence for Business Owners. The first meeting is going to be soon on January 22nd. And as usual, you can visit us at mwadvisors.ca. If you want to get in touch, subscribe to our newsletter, or learn more about our services. Don't forget to follow us on social media. All the links are in the show notes. Thank you for listening, and see you in the next episode.